Welcome to the next episode of the Matt and Matt Show. It's a big day. It's not just any day. It's moving day in 2018's tournament. I'm Matt Duncan.
And I'm Matt McIntyre. Here we go. Hold up. Hey, tell me for a second, what is moving day? Why is it important? Why are we talking about moving day in brackets for good?
Sweet voice, Mr. McIntyre. Moving day is made popular by a particular sport. As you all know by now, we are very fond of sports. The PGA Tour. Moving day is the opportunity for these players to position themselves for an opportunity to win the tournament that they're currently playing in. Same thing happens in brackets for good tournaments, and Thursday is the day. These organizations start setting themselves up to get just in striking range to upset their opponent in 2018.
That's right. Today's a big day as we lean into tomorrow, the biggest day of every single round, the final day, the last chance to get those donations in as the clock ticks down to zero. So what we're going to do, let's profile a few of these matchups that we've seen in each market. We're going to start with our Eastern Conference, so those on the Eastern Time Zone tournaments, and then move to the Central Conference, those in the Central Time Zone tournaments. Just picked out a few matchups to discuss with everybody here today, and so let's jump right into that. The first one, right here, we've got the Study Hall versus Reach Out Loud in Reed, Georgia. Of course, this tournament taking place in Atlanta. Right there, you got 765 to 575. It's anybody's game.
That's right. And thanks to Barnes & Thornburg for sponsoring the tournament, where these organizations are competing to win an additional $10,000 if they make it all the way to championship and win it all.
Once again, two great organizations helping youth. Click their stat sheets, learn some more about them. You can get great insight into what they're doing right there in the Atlanta area. All right, moving on. Next, let's take a look at Connecticut right here. Hands-on Hartford versus the Children's Law Center of Connecticut. What do we have going on here?
Well, 1 point matchup, a little gamesmanship. As you can see, these organizations trading points back and forth. That's what we talk about with moving day. These organizations are trying to test their competition, see if they're watching the tournament as much as they're following it. This is gamesmanship right here, folks.
I agree. What's the lowest margin we've ever seen somebody win by?
1 point.
That's it.
$1.
All it takes to win, $1 more than your opponent.
There we go.
Here we go. Moving right on into Indianapolis, the Lodge Design Round. This is the tournament itself presented by Vallejo Financial Advisors. Village of Merici and Circle City Clubhouse, also with that same gamesmanship.
Close contest. I talked to an organization this last offseason who lost by 5 points, and they were saying it still stings heading into this tournament. So don't let that be you. Make sure you get those points in before the final buzzer sounds tomorrow at 8 p.m.
Got it. Right on, staying in the same state, but the Indiana statewide Brackets for Good tournament, also sponsored by Vallejo. We're right there in the Barnes & Thornburg first round of the competition, where NAMI Indiana is outpacing Hoosier Burn Camp, but not by very much.
Not by much. These are all close contests where your points matter. Your support can help one of these organizations advance and continue their run in 2018.
One thing to point out in this matchup, 100% of their points are in the paint.
That's awesome.
If you hover over these numbers, you get a little bit better understanding of what these percentages are. That means donations between $1 and $99 are points in the paint. Our jumpers, as we call it, are $100 donations to $299, and then 300 plus are your threes. So 100% of their 67 layups right here is what's outpacing the competition.
And what's amazing about that is everybody can come up with $5, $10 to support. And if sometimes people don't think that matters, but in Brackets for Good, it can sway the outcome.
It certainly can. It certainly can. Okay, here we are staying in the Eastern Conference tournaments right here. The Kentucky tournament sponsored by Red River Cabin Rentals. Got to get down there. Got to spend some time down there. Two great youth-serving organizations here, Youth Build Louisville and the Boys and Girls Club of Kentuckiana. What do we think's going on here?
Just two youth organizations down in Louisville battling it out. What we got to see here is which one the community supports and gets behind. Both these organizations have been working really hard to rally their supporters. So great work, teams. Let's see who's got what it takes to advance in round two.
And even though there's some of these point totals as small as compared to others, it's all relative depending on what your competition's doing. So we're excited to see the rest of this and how these strategies will play out.
You always say you only have to beat your competition by 1 point. That's what's going on right here.
That's exactly right. Moving on to our final Eastern Conference tournament in Maryland, sponsored by Stanley Black & Decker. We're deep into the Flying Dog Brewery round, where two very prideful Baltimore centralized organizations are going right at it, and it's early in their wallets and in their game. But there's not that much game left, so we'll see how it pans out.
Well, the Northeasters definitely been hammering this market.
Great point.
Who knows if
Hope everybody's okay.
They're all digging out trying to find their cell phones at this point to get in and support their great causes across the community. So keep up the good work, and we're all thinking about you.
That's it. All right, moving on to our Central Conference tournaments. We'll start in Dallas. This matchup right here, Texas Discovery Gardens versus Readers to Leaders. Just a 10-point difference. Yes, small totals, but still a lot of game to play, and we'll see who ends up on top.
That's right. 8 p.m. Central Time is when this round ends, so make sure you get those donations in and support great causes.
And the other good thing to point out is just the frequency of gifts, right? They donated the 3rd, the 4th, and then the 7th. So they had some gap where they probably looked at each other and said, whoa, who's going to make the first move?
That's right. There's a lot of stalemate going on, but that doesn't mean that they're not going to turn on the gas when it gets closer to the end of the round.
Exactly. Here we go, moving into Minnesota, where the Epilepsy Foundation of Minnesota are taking on the International Wolf Center, who's lighting up the board as of late. So really close, 100-point game.
And you know what that's all about? That's about responding to your competition. They saw that the Epilepsy Foundation took off, gained a little bit of a lead. They're closing that gap to remain in striking distance, a strategy we've seen play out hundreds of times in Brackets for Good. So we can't wait to see what's going to happen at the end of the round tomorrow.
That's it. And the final Central Division tournament, or matchup we want to highlight here is, of course, in St. Louis, sponsored by YouthBridge Community Foundation. This round being sponsored by Ferguson Roofing. You've got the Ferguson Youth Initiative versus Hope Creates, two really exciting organizations in, I believe, their first year.
Absolutely. And rookies are always kind of the dark horse. You really don't know what you're going to get. Are we going to see a Cinderella story present themselves down in St. Louis? Is one of these organizations going to make it to the Philanthropic Four and go on a deep run? Time will tell, and the best part of all Brackets for Good, you are all players, and you can help determine that outcome.
That's exactly right. And so as Moving Day continues to be a big deal here at Brackets for Good, we want to get everybody excited about what's ahead. Tune in on Friday from your phone, from your computer. Tomorrow night's going to be a lot of fun. And by the way, this is the last Matt and Matt show of the week, because tomorrow night we'll be on live, Facebook Live, right after the Eastern Conference wraps up, and then right after the Central Conference wraps up to recap what in the world just happened. So stay tuned. Make sure you're following us on Facebook so you get those notifications about us going live, and you can be part of it.
And Friday also marks the start of 4 additional Brackets for Good tournaments. Nashville, Miami, Cincinnati, and Denver. Get your Brackets for Good Fundraising Madness tournament ready to go. The strategies are about to commence.
Yeah, think about it. They got a whole week to watch everybody else, so
exactly.
See what they come out with.
I love it.
And then one more thing. Why don't you take this one?
You know, we do like to give away a few free throws, and there is certain things that, let's see, Hoosier State basketball were kind of a big deal maybe. This particular player behind us, we're going to give away $5 in free throw codes to the first person who makes a comment below in this post of who this famous Indiana State native is. He's very famous.
That's right. There you go. There's a close-up view. Take your time. And that's it for us. Of course, we can't do it without our sponsors, fans, and supporters. Thank you so much. We'll see you live tomorrow night.
Good luck. Moving Day is over.